And we welcome you back to America's Forum here on Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman sitting in for J.D. Hayworth. And we're continuing our conversation now with Rick Ungar, senior political contributor to Forbes.com and host of Steele and Ungar, and Republican strategist Ford O'Connell. And gentlemen, we were talking about what's going on in South Dakota. We were talking about third-party candidates, but I want to turn our discussion over to Ebola and what impact that could potentially have on the midterms. We haven't heard candidates talking about this a lot yet, and obviously nobody wants to politicize a national health crisis. Well, at least they don't want to do that publicly. But this could have an impact on Democrats, Rick, I would think, because, again, some might say it speaks to the Obama administration's difficulty in handling not just health crises, but also all kinds of crises.
Well, let's start with the fact that anybody who's actually blaming anybody in this situation, whether it's Democrats blaming Republicans for cutting down funding or it's Republicans blaming the president, it's really very stupid and very silly. That said, I really don't think that you're going to see an impact because, with the exception of Texas, barring something horrible happening between now and Election Day, this is not what's on people's minds as they go to the polls.
Yeah, Ford, but that said, Thomas Frieden is a guy who was chosen by this president to run the CDC. A lot of folks are questioning Frieden's leadership.
He's done fine.
Well, let me say this. Here's the deal. I think that Ebola, given how it's dominating the headlines right now in the news, it's going to be the October surprise. Look, I agree with what Rick's saying overall about fear politics, but in some of these races, they're so tight, 1 or 2 points, and right now the Republicans overall have a 20-point edge on national security, and unfortunately fear does motivate people to the ballot box. And right now they think that, given that they're not sure that President Obama is doing enough, 43% of Americans, according to the Washington Post, are fearful that they or their family could contract Ebola. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. When you put 2 to 2 together, that favors the GOP right now. But I do agree with Rick overall. I don't like it when people use a situation to their advantage like this.
Yeah, we'll leave
John,
that.
If you asked that question about ISIS, I would probably answer it differently. But, you can blame the media for making 43% of this country scared that they're going to get Ebola because it's just plain silly.
Well, yeah, it's something. Guys, let's leave this there because there's something else I want to talk about. The media hysteria is something certainly that's coming into play here, and that's part of this. But also, the media wants to let the public know. And we heard Joe Scarborough say asking questions about this is not causing hysteria. But let's leave that there. We'll move on because I do want to talk about something else here, and that is Benghazi. Some new stuff coming out today. But also at the same time, we see Leon Panetta coming out and basically skewering the Obama administration. And we also have seen this before in an article that Dick Morris wrote recently, talking about this is Panetta kind of working as an insider, a former Clinton White House guy, now trying to prop up her as someone who could take over the White House. What's your take on this? Rick Ungar, go ahead.
Well, I have to be honest and say I don't put enormous stock in the claims that Dick Morris makes because they're usually meant to be sensational. I think Leon Panetta spoke his mind. I might have preferred that he waited until after the administration that he worked in was gone, but I don't think that, he's saying what he thinks. You can agree with what he thinks, you can disagree. I suspect it's a fairly honest account and all that comes with that. But no, I really don't see Leon Panetta at this stage of the game being a shill for Hillary Clinton or anybody else.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've got some serious disagreement with you, my friend Rick. I think that Dick Morris is absolutely right. I do think he's sensationalizing it. It is a hit job on Barack Obama, even though he may be telling the truth. The point is he just walked away from an administration. It's quite clear that Leon Panetta wants to be part of a second Clinton administration. It is just that simple. That's exactly what this was about.
At his age, I seriously doubt that's the case.
Well,
could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Hillary Clinton's age too, my friend.
Well, he's a guy that everybody seems to like, and as he has said, guys,
he's considerably older than Hillary.
As Panetta has said, he thinks these are things that this president and any president needs to hear. But we'll leave it there. We can, of course, Dick Morris writes about this on Newsmax.com, and also folks can catch this in Dick Morris's new book called Power Grab, and they can go to powergrab411.com for more information on the book. Rick Ungar, Ford O'Connell, thank you guys both very much for being with us to talk about this and all other issues we discussed here today. Much more to come here on America's Forum. I'm John Bachman. We'll be back with more coming up right after this.